So, good day everyone. I hope you are all doing great today. So, for today, I will be going to discuss our topic, which is the Batas Pambansa Bilang 232, or the Education Act of 1982. I will discuss every chapter, and then later on, the next presenter will continue the discussion of our topic. Education Act of 1982, also known as Batas Pambansa Bilang 232, is a comprehensive law that outlines the educational policies and structures in the Philippines, enacted during the Marcos regime. The law aimed to address the evolving needs of the education system and promote accessible quality education for all of the Filipinos. The preamble emphasized the state's commitment to providing accessible and quality education for all of the citizens, recognizing the vital role of education in national development. The Batas Pambansa Bilang 232, or the Education Act of 1982, outlines the fundamental principles and aspirations that guide the legislation. In this case, the preamble underscores the state's dedication to ensuring accessible and high-quality education for every citizen. It acknowledged the crucial role of education and fostering national development, sets the tone for the entire law, emphasizing the importance of education as a cornerstone for the progress and well-being of the nation. It reflects the government's commitment in making education available to all and recognize its significance in shaping a thriving and developed society. Moving on to the chapter 1, the general provisions. So this chapter articulates the state's policy on education, emphasizing its role in fostering nationalism, patriotism, and love of humanity. This highlights the importance of decentralization in educational management and administration. So this chapter consists of 6 sections which highlights ang role sa education in promoting nationalism, patriotism, and love for others. Example of a connection to this provision is the emphasis on developing national awareness and promoting love for the country by the inclusion of local aspects of history and culture in the school curriculum to maintain the identity of each region. Additionally, local authorities collaborate with schools to tailor educational programs that reflect the unique needs and values of their community. For example, si teacher kay magtudlo og history about a certain region, or magpa-perform si teacher og kanta or sayaw nga gikan sa nagkalain-laing lugar sa iyahang mga students. So, moving on to the chapter 2, the state and education. So this chapter outlines the state's responsibilities in promoting and protecting the right to education. This chapter emphasizes the state's role in providing equitable access to education and ensuring the welfare of educators. So this chapter consists of 14 sections which emphasizes that the government ensure the right of education for all of the Filipino citizens, the fair access of education, and the importance of the Filipino teachers. For example, the government focuses a good quality access of education sa katong mga lugar nga naay limited access. Pareho anang mga lugar nga naa sa bukid-bukid. And also, ang gobyerno gisigurado ang kapakanan sa mga Filipino teacher. Apil na ang pagtaas sa ilahang sweldo o pag-provide og mga beneficiaries. This is for a better quality of education in the Philippines. So next is the chapter 3. the educational decentralization. So this chapter establishes mechanism for decentralizing educational governance, empowering local government units to manage and operate schools. When we say decentralization, it is a concept or policy wherein power and decision-making kay balhinon. So, from the central government to various local units, such as local government or communities. It is a step towards giving greater autonomy to areas that are more knowledgeable about their own needs and conditions. For example, is the school-based management or the SBM. So SBM means that individual schools or their local communities are given more authority and responsibility for making decisions related to the school's operations and improvement. So for example, in the small barangay, nay usa ka eskwelahan. The community recognizes that their school faces unique challenges and opportunities, so they decide to implement the school-based management. By first is decision-making authority. So the school forms a school governing council or the SGC. It is comprising mga teachers, mga ginikanan, and the community leaders. They are given the authority to make decisions regarding the school's budget, policies, and programs. Recognizing that many parents in the community are farmers, so the school decides to enhance its curriculum by incorporating agricultural studies. This ensures that students learn subjects relevant to their local context and by community involvement. So, by this, the school organizes regular meetings where parents, teachers, and community members discuss school matters, and this involvement ensures that decisions reflect the collective aspirations of the community, particularly through school-based management or the SBM. So it empowers local communities to actively participate in shaping their educational system. This approach fosters a sense of ownership, encourages community involvement, and ensures that education aligns with local context and priorities. The key takeaway is that decentralization in education can lead to more effective and community-centric learning environments. So moving on to the chapter for compulsory education. So this chapter mandates compulsory and free elementary education, ensuring that all children of school age have access to basic education. So the aim of this law is mandating compulsory and free elementary education. It is typically rooted in several key objectives, which is the universal access to education, reducing illiteracy, poverty alleviation, and social equality. Under this law, kay gina-encourage ang mga ginikanan or the guardian nga suportahan ilang anak sa pagpadayon og eskwela and to continue the education of the children. The government provide financial assistance and scholarship to those family nga naay limited nga sweldo to ensure that there is no children left behind. The aim of this is to provide fair access opportunity to the basic education and for those children nga nangandoy to build a better future for themselves and for the entire nation. Next is Chapter 5, Vocational and Technical Education. So this promotes vocational and technical education to meet the needs of the economy, encourage the development of technical skills and entrepreneurship. So the government's goal is to create a conducive environment for skill development, entrepreneurship, economic growth, global competitiveness and poverty alleviation through the promotion of vocational and technical education. So, for example, in the context sa among school, kay when I was in grade 8, nami subject nga TLE, which stands for Technology and Livelihood Education. And every semester, kay we have different topic to focus on nga related to the TLE course. Wherein, pag first semester, kay ang among focus is bread and pastry. Pag second semester, ang focus is agriculture. And during in my grade 9, kaya we have also TLE subject, but this time, kaya papilion mi kung asa mi nga specialization, such as carpentry, agriculture, cookery, and computer. Kung unsay imong gipili, kay mao na ang imong focusan and the whole semester. Same with during grade 10. And during grade 11 to 12, our school offer TVL strand, which stand for Technical Vocational Livelihood, one of the senior high school program tracks under the K-12 Enhanced Basic Education Program. This is to develop the students' skills that is useful for livelihood and technical projects. Next is the chapter 6, the secondary education. So this chapter focuses on improving and expanding secondary education. This chapter introduces reforms in the secondary education curriculum. So chapter 6 underscores the commitment to enhance and broaden secondary education, introducing reforms to the curriculum to meet evolving educational needs. This initiative aims to provide students with a more robust and relevant educational experience during their secondary years. When we say curriculum reforms, it is referred to intentional changes and improvements made to the content, structure, and delivery of the educational program at the secondary level. Example ani is the introduction of relevant subject, incorporating subject that align sa panginahanglanon karon sa society and the job market, such as technology, entrepreneurship, or other emerging fields wherein ang students kung manarbaho kay na sila knowledge and experiences para igtrabaho nila, dili na kayo sila lisdan, and also sa technology enhanced learning wherein in today's generation ang technology is gamit kaayo for the students to enhance their overall quality of education. And overall, chapter 6 aim this curriculum reform is to provide more dynamic, relevant, and comprehensive educational experience for secondary students, better equipping them for further education or the workforce and the evolving landscape. So this ends my discussion, and the continuation of our topic will be discussed by the next presenter.
Higher education is any of various types of education given in post-secondary institutions of learning and usually affording at the end of a course of study a name, degree, diploma, or certificate of higher studies. Higher educational institutions include not only universities and colleges but also various professional schools that provide preparation in such fields as law, theology, medicine, business, music, art, and many more. It also includes teacher training schools, junior colleges, and institutes of technology. The basic entrance requirement for most higher educational institutions is the completion of secondary education, and the usual entrance age is about 18 years. Teacher education and welfare in an article addressed largely to persons outside the profession has co-11 analyzed the responsibility of society for teacher welfare, defining welfare as a psychological and emotional phenomenon that is closely related to social status and emphasizing the position of a teacher as a producer of skills and techniques that society needs, albeit a producer unable to bargain competitively for recompense for his products, has listed following areas in which society is responsible for the welfare of the teacher. Number 1, assuring suitable economic returns. Number 2, providing reasonable security. Number 3, affording humanized working conditions. Number 4, increasing satisfaction. And lastly, number 5, protecting personal integrity.
National language, for purpose of communication and instruction of the official languages of the Philippines are Filipino and otherwise provided by law, English. It is obvious that in order to develop a sense of nationhood in the Filipino people, Filipino is a better medium than English to express the country's cultural tradition, values, beliefs, and national aspirations, and should therefore be the medium of instruction in the social sciences. Textbooks and other instructional materials, it serves as the basis for much of the language input learners receive, and the language practice that occurs in the classroom. Materials may also serve as a form of teacher training. They provide ideas on how to plan and teach lesson as well as a format that teachers can use. Financing of education. The implementation of the right to education requires funding in order to build schools, pay teachers' salary and training, provide teacher materials, and etc. To implement the right to education effectively, states should ensure that a sufficient proportion of the national budget is allotted to education financing and that the money is used effectively and equitably to guarantee education for all as well as redress inequalities. Coordination with other government agencies. Group of people can work together to accomplish amazing tasks. They can figure out ways to garner the necessary skills, funds, and time to solve community problem and improve human services. What you need people who are well organized, cooperative, and determined. Multi-sector collaboration is when community organizations join forces with government, schools, and business to solve a number of connected problems such as a lack of jobs for youth crime, a climbing high school dropout rate, a lack of skilled labor force. The different groups will come together to define the problem and then plan and implement a strategy to prepare young people to become skilled workers. In this case, business needs for a skilled workforce are similar to and linked with the needs of community activists and with the goal of educational institutions.